Is Mexico in North America or Central America? Is Brazil part of Latin America? Is the Caribbean its own continent? And why do some maps show 7 continents? Tonight, we're untangling the geography and the politics behind North America, Central America, South America, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Because they are not the same thing. Here's the issue. We use these terms like they're interchangeable. They're not. Some are geographic terms, some are cultural, some are linguistic, and some are purely political constructs. That confusion matters. It affects identity, immigration conversations, foreign policy, even how Americans understand their own hemisphere. So, let's break it down cleanly, logically, and visually. Geographically speaking, North America is a continent. It includes Canada, the United States, Mexico, the countries of Central America, the Caribbean island nations. Yes, Mexico is geographically in North America. So is Guatemala. So is Jamaica. From the Arctic Circle to the narrow strip of land in Panama, it's S1 continental plate. Roughly 24.7 million square kilometers. Nearly 600 million people. Geography doesn't care about language. It cares about landmass. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Central America is not a continent. It's a sub-region of North America. 7 countries: Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Day. It's the narrow land bridge connecting North America to South America. Only about 523,000 square kilometers. Small, strategically critical. Because this is where ULL find the Panama Canal, one of the most important shipping shortcuts in human history. So Central America is geographic, but it's also political and economic, and it often gets mistaken as its own continent. It's not. Now we cross into South America. Beat. This is a separate continent, connected physically by land, but geologically distinct. It includes 12 sovereign countries: Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Chile, Peru, and others. It spans about 17.8 million square kilometers. Population, around 430 million people. It contains the Amazon rainforest, the Andes Mountains, some of the largest freshwater reserves on Earth. South America is geographically separate from North America. But here's where things start to overlap. Because culturally, Mexico and Brazil often get grouped together. Why? Enter Latin America. Latin America is not a continent. It's not a formal political union. It's a cultural and linguistic category. Latin America refers to countries in the Americas where people primarily speak languages derived from Latin: Spanish, Portuguese, French. That includes Mexico, most of Central America, most of South America, parts of the Caribbean. Brazil qualifies because Portuguese is a Romance language. Haiti qualifies because of French influence. But here's the twist: Belize, English-speaking. So geographically in Central America, but often excluded from Latin America. See the overlap. Latin America is about language and colonial history, not tectonic plates. Now, let's talk about Caribbean. The Caribbean is a region made up of island nations and territories in the Caribbean Sea. Examples: Jamaica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Barbados, Bahamas. Geographically, most are part of North America's continental region. Culturally, some are considered part of Latin America, some are not. For example, Cuba, Spanish-speaking, often grouped into Latin America. Jamaica, English-speaking, usually not. So, the Caribbean is a geographic sea region, a cultural identity, a political grouping like CARICOM, but not a continent. To understand the confusion, we have to go back 500 years. When European empires colonized the Western Hemisphere, Spain controlled large parts of Central and South America, Portugal colonized Brazil, France controlled parts of the Caribbean, Britain controlled others. Language boundaries followed empire boundaries. That's why Brazil speaks Portuguese, not Spanish. That's why Haiti speaks French and Creole. That's why Jamaica speaks English. So when scholars later coined the term Latin America, they were grouping former Spanish, Portuguese, and French colonies together. It was never about geography. It was about colonial legacy. This isn't just trivia, it affects immigration debates in the United States, trade agreements, foreign policy language, census categories, cultural identity. When Americans say Latin American immigrants, they may be referring to people from Mexico. But geographically, Mexico is part of North America. When someone says America, they often mean only the United States. But in Spanish, America refers to the entire hemisphere. Same word, different meanings, and that shapes identity. So what is America? Is it one continent? Two continents? In many European and Latin American education systems, America is taught as a single continent, divided into North and South. In the US, we're taught there are 7 continents, and North and South America are separate. There is no universal global agreement. Geography isn't always political, and politics isn't always geographic. Let's simplify everything. North America equals continent, includes Canada, US, Mexico, Central America. Caribbean Central America equals subregioned. 7 countries not a continent, South America equals separate continent. 12 countries Latin America equals cultural linguistic grouping. Spanish, Portuguese, French-speaking countries in the Americas. Caribbean equals geographic sea region plus cultural identity, mostly islands. Part of North America geographically, 5 terms, 3 different types of definitions: geographic, cultural, political. So why does this matter? Because labels shape perspective. If you misunderstand geography, you misunderstand history. If you misunderstand history, you misunderstand identity. D. The Western Hemisphere isn't divided just by land. It's divided by language, by empire, by education systems, by perspective. And sometimes, the most powerful misunderstandings aren't about borders. They're about definitions. If this breakdown helped you see the map differently, subscribe to USA Uncovered. Because sometimes, the most important stories aren't hidden. They're just mislabeled.